everybody, it is your girl here, GenuinelyDivine, coming at you today with a video all about moon in the sign of Libra. If you are new to this channel, my channel is all about self-discovery through astrology as well as spirituality. If you like those things, please consider clicking that subscribe button. I would really love to have you be a part of the Genuinely Divine community. The moon in our birth chart represents our instincts, our emotions, also our reaction. Like, how do we react to things? Like, the first feeling or that first thought that you get when a situation approaches you or you approach a situation, that is your moon sign. The moon also represents our mothers in our charts, or the type of mothers we could become in a woman's chart. The zodiac sign Libra is all about justice and partnerships, and how do we find a balance between the people of the world and ourselves? So what happens when the moon comes into the zodiac sign of Libra? What happens is you get a person who's overly accommodating when it comes to others. A lot of times they can overly compensate for others' downfalls. Like, if a person don't have it all together, or they don't have their plans all balanced out or something, lunar Libras can actually help people to reach their highest potential. A lot of times lunar Libras will take it upon themselves to take on a project. Like, they'll take a person on as a project to make them better, to make them grander, to make them more beautiful. It's very important for lunar Libras to bring balance and to bring beauty and to bring peace into the life of other people. So a lot of times they can actually be the type of person to take on heavy burdens in their life that they don't necessarily want to take on, but because it's a part of their nature, they usually find themselves in a situation where they're actually taking on a lot of extra responsibility that really belongs to other people. Lunar Libras naturally have a knack for value, things of value, you know, being able to like look at something and really know that it is of good quality or high value. Libras are represented by the scales, and it's all about balance for Libra. So they can look at something, like, for instance, let's just say a lunar Libra and her friend, they're actually looking at earrings or they're looking at something, and there's no prices on the page or anything, but for some odd reason lunar Libras just always pick up the most expensive thing, because they're just naturally high maintenance, you know, they just really love nice things. They're naturally inclined to things that are the most beautiful, things that are the most grandest, because that's just their nature. In a relationships, lunar Libras can come off as very difficult to please in relationships, because a lot of times their partners don't know which way to go, and the reason is because lunar Libras they're searching for balance, but that's something that they probably hardly ever can really find when it comes to their emotions. So their partners can never feel like they do enough for lunar Libra, because of their natural high maintenance type attitude. It's very difficult for lunar Libras to feel 100% satisfied in a relationship. Another thing that I notice about lunar Libras is they tend to isolate themselves from others. A lot of times they just need to really recharge, or just really have that alone time. And the thing about lunar Libras for me is Libra is a sign of masculinity, being ruled by Venus, the planet of love and beauty, which is a very feminine planet. So with that energy, I feel like Libra is a dual sign. So in relationships, a lot of times they need that togetherness, but they also need that separation. And I feel like this is just a matter of divine feminine energy as well as divine masculine energy for Libra. And so it confuses their partners a lot of times, because they don't actually know like what they got going on. It's like, okay, you want us to be together, but when we're together you're detached from me in a sense. So what's the problem? What's going on here? I don't understand. But in all actuality, Libra divine feminine energy, they need the togetherness, because Venus is a very feminine planet, and then you have Libra, which is masculine, which means that Libra also need their alone time. So they need a balance between the two. They need a balance between togetherness and alone time. So people who are in a relationship with lunar Libras, you definitely need to know and understand that this is what they need. And also lunar Libras, you need to let people know who you're in a relationship with, what you require and what you need to feel balanced in a relationship. Now you guys, you definitely want to look at the aspects to this moon. Like you want to look at the condition of your moon in your birth chart. You definitely want to look at the 4th house and see what's going on in the 4th house. There's going to be a strong aspect to your moon because the moon naturally rules the 4th house, so there's a correlation there. So you definitely want to look there. Also you guys, I noticed like people who have like a water moon or in a fire rising with this placement, a lot of times they actually, you know, they can be very moody. A lot of times they can just, their mood changes, and when they feel like their emotions are out of whack, they're not balanced enough, they can actually be very moody. Some days they can be very talkative and you can just really enjoy talking to lunar Libras, but then there are days when they're just like kind of like they're moping. This is a really difficult situation sometimes when you're dealing with a lunar Libra, especially a lunar Libra who has a lot of Pluto influences, you know, like a lot of Pluto aspects to the moon. They're just very changeable all the time, you know what I mean? So it just depends on a lot of them, but for the most part, moon and Libra type people, they usually try to keep a balanced type personality, you know, where they're just kind of like constant with how they are. But those who have like negative aspects, a lot of times they're just very changeable. They do have a codependency type issue, especially when it comes to relationships. I cannot find a lunar Libra that loves to be alone and not in a relationship. They like to have their space in a relationship, but they never ever want to be alone. And because of that, I feel like a lot of lunar Libra type people, they actually end up in relationships that are not the most beneficial for them. A lot of times they can end up with people who are emotionally unavailable, or they can find themselves in relationships with people who are just not 100% what they're looking for, but because they do not want to be alone, they can actually find themselves staying in relationships just to say that they're in a relationship, or just to have that sense of someone there. But overall, when it comes to lunar Libras, they're very honest type people, they're very peaceful type people, and they're very considerate. This is one of the most considerate placements. They consider other people's feelings and what they may be going through, and they try their best to communicate with them in a way of concern of what they may be going through or may not be going through, okay? Also, when it comes to the cons, or you know, the negative for this placement is a lot of times lunar Libras can be a tad bit inactive, you know, they can be a little bit unadventurous, you know, or just complacent, you know, just being comfortable with things, just being in balance, but not necessarily bringing them the joy or the happiness that they truly require. But because it's not causing any friction or any upsets, they'll just kind of like stay there and just let it be, you know. And I just don't feel like that's really good, lunar Libras. You have to be happy, you deserve to be happy. Another thing about lunar Libras is they do not want to be disliked. They hate to be disliked. They want everybody to like them. They want everybody to get along with one another. But this is not the case. And just because lunar Libras feel that way, or even for them to even have a sense that everybody likes them, or that everybody approves of their way, there's some deception there, you know, either within themselves or deception to others. But it's usually deception to themselves, because they're usually honest when they're communicating with other people. They try to be, okay? Unless they have like a Leo rising or strong Leo or Leo sun, they probably won't be very honest when they're communicating. But other than that, I feel like they're gonna kind of like be pretty honest, because they want to be fair, they want to be just in whatever it is that they're talking about or whatever it is that they're doing. But because there is a form of deception, it's usually a form of deception to themselves. They are deceiving themselves of having the type of life that they truly desire. A lot of times they are the type of people to take a person and try and create that person into what they truly desire. And in life, unfortunately, you can't take a person and sculpt them into what you want them to become. become. You have to accept them for who they are, what they are when you got them, you know? It's okay to help motivate a person and inspire them to reach the highest potential of themselves. I do find a lot of lunar Libras who try to do this, and then they usually end up, you know, being very disappointed because it's not possible. So it's just very important that you guys really communicate what it is that you require in a relationship, what you want in a relationship. Another thing that I notice about lunar Libras is a lot of times they are the type of people, they don't like to stir the pot. So they're not going to be the type of person that's going to be confrontational, or they're going to try and start problems or something. Now, of course, if they're getting strong Mars or Pluto aspects, then they don't mind stirring the pot. It really makes them feel happy to do this, you know. But if they're getting more harmonious type aspects to this moon, then they're gonna be the type of people, they're not gonna wanna stir the pot. They're not gonna be confrontational. They're not gonna start problems, okay? They'll just be like, okay, forget about it. A lot of times, lunar Libras learn this at a very early age because their mom or their mother figure was the type of woman who always tried and keep peace. You know, she was the type of mother that was like, you know, just don't worry about it, you know, if you know, just don't talk about it, just don't think about it, you know. The mom probably will always tell the lunar Libra, just don't worry about it, forget about it, you know. And throughout their whole life, that's what they heard. They didn't really get to express how they really felt about it and how they wanted to handle it, because their mom would always probably just shut it down and just say, don't worry about it, you know. And so as they grow up to become adults, that's just how they feel. Like if something's not right in their life and it's not how they really want it to be, they just tell themselves, you know, just don't worry about it. I'm just not gonna worry about it. It's okay. It's not hurting anybody. It's not causing any problems. But in all actuality, lunar Libras, a lot of times it can be hurting you because you're not living within your truth, and you have to learn to break away from that so that you can have the life that you truly desire. It doesn't matter what type of relationship you're in, partnerships, business, whatever the case may be, your relationships to others, you need to communicate your truth. You need to communicate what you desire, what you need to be happy. And it's okay to strive for balance, peace, and harmony and beauty. That's great, because we need more people like you. But at the same token, don't forget about yourself, because you are the most important person when it comes to you. And you have to understand that. And you have to understand that nobody likes everybody. Like, there's not one person in the whole wide world that everybody likes. It's impossible. It's never gonna happen. It's impossible for it to happen. Keep that in mind. As long as you like you, that's all that matters. Anybody else that likes you, great, wonderful, amazing. If they don't, who cares? You like you, you love you, and that's the most important thing. So start there, lunar Libras. And until the next time, you guys, I wish you so much love, peace, and so many wonderful blessings. Bye.